We are here. All right. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We are going over some notes from week 3, which was, week 2, which was last week during the workout. Some people were there, some people were not. So we want to go over a little bit of a recap and teach you one lesson. Brittany's going to teach you one lesson about that. There's also a PDF that will be attached in the school and on the app. And then I'm going to preview the first lesson that's part of week 3. I'll be doing that part. So we're going to go into share screen now. Welcome to week, this is the week 2 presentation. There's just
I forgot
a few items to cover in this one. So nothing is that big of a deal that was missed. So we want to keep these lessons really simple.
Yes.
Let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller. No, I can't. We want to keep the lessons really, really simple so it makes it easy for you all to memorize the information and be able to process it and have enough time to process it and not feel overwhelmed in a sea of too much info, and make it definitely more applicable.
All right. So I'm going to go through these. Okay. So our athletic approach to weight loss, obviously our company is Amp Up Sports Nutrition. So unlike our previous product brands that we've grown in the past, this time we have more of an athletic edge. It's more about sports nutrition. This is not just for athletes or kids playing sports. This is for people that love to live an athletic lifestyle and love to work out athletically. So don't let this name narrow what you do or narrow your target market. So this is really good timing for everything that we're doing, because athletics and athleticism and people working out athletically is more of a trend, which when I say trend, I don't mean like it's trendy, it's on its way in, or it's on its way out. I mean, more people understand it. So since I'm in marketing, I'm always looking at what do people understand, because if something's not a trend, then most people aren't going to understand it and they're not going to know what you talk about. So it really doesn't matter if you're saying things in the correct way or not. What matters is how somebody understands you and if they understand you or not. So that's why this is really good timing for athletic workouts, an athletic lifestyle approach, eating like an athlete, because people get it now. They literally did not get it 15 years ago.
No way.
No
way.
And then 20 years ago is when I started it with a client, and Kate Moss was still popular. So it was not popular then. Okay. Our athletic approach to weight loss and shape up. Obviously, this is the way that we like to live as human beings. And this is the way that we have lived for the past 20, 25 years. And this is what we like to teach. So there's all different ways to approach health, diet, weight loss, fitness. It's not that there's one right and there's wrong. It is what matches your body type, what matches your personality, what matches your lifestyle, what you like to do, and what you will actually do. So I'm never cutting on another method or another type of diet, fitness, exercise, weight loss. Everything works for somebody. This is about what works for us.
Yeah.
So
like
again,
Zumba or Judy Missett-Shepherd with
or Jazzercise that Melinda and I joined.
Yeah. So just to find out how other people train people, and all those are just different versions of training. And when we go to like personal trainer conferences, we always choose the HIIT classes and the dominant military classes and all those type of things. So there are different ways of training for so many different people, and Amp Up is always going to go down the track of athletics. Is the first way. Athletes, pro athletes, every level athlete, more athletic. That's the type of coach that we're training you how to be. There's the dancey coach like the Tracy Anderson or the Judy Missett-Shepherd, or there is the Zumba type coach.
There's Pure Bar. I would shoot myself.
Yeah. So there's those kinds. So there's several different ways that people can train. There's just a spinning instructor and that kind of stuff. But we're coaching you how to be a coach that is going to generate the most revenue, which is making the money with meal plans and diets, making the money with athletic type training, because that's the type of training that helps you help other people get into competition, get into shows, and so it's much, much broader base. All right. Are you done on that page?
No, I just down in my section. I was in the first bullet point.
Oh,
okay. People get higher self-esteem, have more fun, and more. This is really horrible grammar, and it's more effective to train than athletic.
My problem. You should wing it. Wing it.
So last week, when I was teaching you how to instruct, we talked a lot about self-esteem and how to meet people where they're at. And so this is really important, especially in this framing of athlete athleticism, because if people have been out of sports for a long time, or if they were never an athlete, they come in thinking that they're going to feel embarrassed and they're going to feel flustered and they're going to feel scared. So like I was teaching you last week, you're always saying, that's fine. Like, just do it this way. That's fine where you're at. You're supposed to feel that way. It's totally fine that you're sore. That's great that you feel wore out. Always reframing their muscle failure as a positive. So that was a really key point from last week that we went over. And again, that's what makes it fun. And if you don't have control of that situation, nobody can have fun until you have control of the room and control of the situation.
I love it.
Yes. We are not curves. Melinda and I went to curves also.
We joined.
We had to act like we were not exercisers and we hadn't worked out in 10 years. The amount of lies that we've had to tell at these fitness places.
Oh, God, it's so fun.
Oh, we went to Weight Watchers meetings.
Oh, it was great.
Yep. Planet Fitness. Yep.
Got kicked out of there.
Yep. Yeah, we've been on all these places. Again, there's a time and a place for all of them. And if it's helping somebody improve their lives, good. Go there.
Yeah, that ain't us.
Curved circuit workout was not for me. We see people who need to lose 120 pounds and they get
There? That's probably the word there.
self-esteem to lose the weight and run marathons, etc. Yes, you can be life-changing for somebody. People who don't have an athletic mindset are lifelong couch potatoes. You all know this type. This is not your clientele. Exactly. So I always tell people, I was at an event recently. It was this woman owns a med spa, day spa. And so, they do all kind of like facial aesthetic treatments and they do liquid IVs. And so my friend took me and she was like, hey, it'll be great for you networking and you'll meet a lot of people. And these women are into their looks and their body. And then these women that own this spa in particular, they're into liquid IVs, which you are infused with vitamins and hydration and all these other good things. And so she thought that would, they might be my clientele. Well, it doesn't matter what drunk girls say about wanting to work out when they're drinking. It is one of the funniest experiences to get into. Girls will lie probably the most about their intentions to work out when they're drunk more than any other thing. Like it felt like they were like drunk and like hanging all over a guy and like, oh my God, you're so great. And the next morning they're gonna be like, I don't care at all. Like that's what the experience kind of felt like. Because people will say so much shit and then just let it be. Like you just have to see if they're full of shit or if they're actually going to follow through with that. So I left and I told my friend Ashley, she was like, well, yeah, I hope they come work out with you. And 20 years into this, I'm like, we'll see. I'm like, I don't care either way. Like either they want to work out or they don't. Like people will talk a lot of shit. And unless they're in that place where they really want to make a change, it doesn't matter what your sales pitch is. It doesn't matter how good you look. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job. It is not a reflection on me or you at all. It is 1000% about them. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. For people in their 20s through 70s, we invented the AMP Up non-impact fitness regime. So as I was going over last week, it's okay to do some impact. So I was showing you the total non-impact and then with a little more impact. So impact is something that you don't let people do more impact than they're actually ready for. Because whenever you're jumping around with extra weight on your body, it's not just you're 30 pounds overweight and so you're jumping with 30 pounds. The impact when you jump, it's something like when you run, it's something like 7 times that amount of weight is hitting your joints. So it's not 30 pounds. Yeah, at the very least, it's 7 times 30, which is just shit ton. That's 210 pounds. So yeah, of just extra weight. So 210 extra pounds is hitting your joint every single step. So this is not like, no, I'm a badass. I can handle it. This is, no. We're not going to cause damage to your joints. We're not going to wear your brake pads out way sooner than they need to be wore out. Save that shit. Get your body weight down. Get your body in very strong, very fit shape. Get everything around those knee joints. Get your quads, get your hamstring, get your calves. Get all of those muscles strong enough to support impact because that's what athletes do. So with all the training that I've been doing for track, So much of it is about getting all of those different muscle groups and those joints and my feet and the muscles and the arches of my feet and my fucking toes. I have to get all those muscles so strong so I can handle that much impact and that much speed and that much power. So when you're thinking about things from an athletic mindset, it's not, can this person jump or not? Or, oh, I think I can do this. I think I'll be fine. It's actually getting everything in your body so it can perform. So think about it that way, not like, oh, I need to do the modified version. I can't do impact or I'm not ready for that. Think about it from a more holistic athletic mindset. From people in their 20s through 70s, we found that all prefer less impact, but high calorie burning exercises. Absolutely. Whenever there's a way to burn more fat and calories and save your joints, yes, absolutely. Save your knees, your back. Even when I was at my summer championships meet, the way that those athletes are talking about their bodies, they're like, yeah, I took it easy and I rested the entire week before going full out. Or somebody said, yeah, I don't go full out for the entire 2 months before I go to championships. And then I go full out, just one run and that's it. So the way that these athletes think about their bodies, it's literally like the single use that Formula One tires get. Like, it's like that. So just start thinking about everything and framing everything that way in your own mind about your own body. Saving all of your joints. Don't overuse them, especially for stupid shit that doesn't even matter. Okay, move on. Approach yourself and clients like an athlete, what I just said. Too many people have high failure rates from doing diets and high impact exercise workouts when they're not actually adequately prepping their body for that. We found helping them become more athletic with true athletic training routines and sports nutrition is what wins and leads to higher motivation, yes, and success rates, yes, absolutely, for clients from basically all ages. So this is something that I'm going to get into with our sports massage therapist, Chuck, on Friday. I'm actually going to be filming going through and working on glute activation and diagnosing my own body for where my muscular chain weaknesses are. And then we're going to put that out as training, because everything that I've been doing with him as far as mobility training and getting everything to fire properly in, the chain of all of your muscles in your body for proper movement, that's what I've been learning from him and from Todd, and then teaching all of my powerlifting girls. And that's how we're going to be moving forward. So it's all about diagnosing in a more athletic way. And then we're going to be teaching you guys that.
Exactly. I love that. That was really great.
Good.
Really great.
Thank you.
Recipe
For the week. All right. So every week we have a recipe. This is riced cauliflower, which is amazing. There's so many good brands of riced cauliflower, and it has such a good texture to it. And it really does make you feel like you're eating that texture of carbs, but without the bloat, without the water retention, without that lethargy. And there's so many good riced cauliflowers out there. So you can make a stir fry with it. And that one looks amazing. We've done so many different versions. I see there's like jalapenos in there. Jalapenos in your stir fry, especially with rice cauliflower. It's so good. So good. Add a little bit of egg there and you literally feel like you're at an Asian restaurant.
Exactly. A big reason why we're into you always just throwing some new recipe into a week, into your month. Nothing will get you in a rut and make you want to binge more than you thinking that you're supposed to eat the same shit over and over and over and over and over. We know sometimes you have to eat the same shit if you're getting ready for a bikini show or something like that. But when you can put still the same food you already eat, just make it in a different way and get a different experience, it keeps the mind fresh. You always have to keep that food fresh in your mind so boredom doesn't set in. If boredom sets in, a rut comes. If a rut comes, now it's going to be hard as fuck for you to dig yourself out of it. So it's critical to always, for yourself, be in the habit of new, fresh recipes, even if it's just 2 new ones a month.
And things
two in a month. And then it helps you make sure your clients are doing it. Because if you don't do it, they won't copy you. If they don't copy you and they get into that rut eating, they're just going to say, I did it. I'm quitting after 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. I can't stick with it. It's too hard. The food is too hard, because you're not getting them to enjoy food and enjoy the whole process that leads to having a great body. It is a process. It is a journey. And you don't get to that journey just eating super strict nonstop and never having any good meals.
And it's things to look forward to. So for example, I did spaghetti squash last week, and I am loving cauliflower with olive oil, salt, pepper, cayenne, and then dairy-free cheddar cheese on it. And so those are like my 2 veggies that I meal prep for the week. And I'm looking forward to them every day. I'm literally like, oh my God, good. I get my spaghetti squash now. And oh, good. That cheesy cauliflower is so good. So at the point when you're not looking forward to eating something anymore, like this is seasonally what I'm looking forward to now. I was in a big broccoli and Brussels sprout phase for a while. And then I was in a green bean phase, and I want none of those things right now. So pay attention to what your body's wanting and craving seasonally, because it goes back to our hunter-gatherer, forager, ancient roots, and it's a real thing. But looking forward to making sure you always have food you're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to my chocolate shake. I'm looking forward to spaghetti squash and pesto chicken. Like you want to have those really healthy things that you're looking forward to, and not like, oh God, I have to eat that, but I really want this cookie. Well, if you push that long enough, you're going to be eating the cookie, and you're not eating whatever shit you thought you were going to eat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big part about being a coach. You have to coach yourself right. And that's why you're in this academy. You have to coach yourself right in order to coach others right. So that's the only way you're going to be able to help somebody through that kind of a sticking point. And that diet is the biggest sticking point of all. All right. Now we're going on to week 3 lesson. We're going to go through the first 8 pages of this lesson. It's pretty deep, intense lesson. It's really critical that you pay close attention to this part of the lesson, because this has to do with personalities. This has to do with the way that you approach other people. This has a lot to do with psychology, whether you're a teacher like Dana, whatever. You have to use psychology in everything that you do. So natural healing is a very, very big thing. Natural healing, athletic approach to weight loss, shaping up for you and your client. So all of you know, we are very much into the natural healing way of everything. And that's the way that you can actually help someone, because the products are available on Amazon or wherever. And people are going to have problems. They're always going to have something wrong with them, because that's how a human body works. There's always some shit that's going on that they just need some help with. And the regular doctor may not have worked, whatever. Their drugs they're currently on doesn't work, and they need an actual new way. Or they're just going through natural menopause, perimenopause, or andropause, what guys go through. So understand your personality method, disease management, self-awareness versus other awareness, how to do both. And I think the maximum I'm going to go to today is polarity. So I'm going over those first 4 bullets. All right. So according to psychological research, I'm going to move this over here. People can be characterized. You hear me talk about this all the time. So Myers-Briggs is one of our favorite personality types, because it's very, very accurate. And this is really important to understand, because you need to understand your clients one-on-one. You need to understand them if they're in a group, and you need to understand yourself and who you work best with.
And there's a lot of different personality type things out there, and they're all good for different things. I'm sure if you're in a corporate workplace situation, you've done the DISC and the Enneagram and all those things. And those are all fine. Those are all good. But the reason that I like the Myers-Briggs the best is because it gives you really easy compass markers as far as how to appeal to this client one-on-one or in a group that you're talking to, and how to kind of cater your connection with them. So since we are in a connection business, all those other ones are good when you're working in teams and in a corporate setting and all those different things. I've done all of them. I love all of them. But this one, time and time again, is always the way that I figure out how to connect with someone and how I figure out how to communicate. Because again, you can say whatever you want to say. If they're not understanding it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so just a little brief understanding, because sometimes people think they understand what introvert means and they don't, or they understand what extrovert means and they don't. Extrovert doesn't mean outgoing. Introvert doesn't mean shy.
Right.
So extrovert versus introvert. Extroverts get their energy from being around people. Introverts get their energy from being alone and thinking and being quiet. So they like to, they don't like people interrupting all their thought processes and stuff like that. Introverts get drained from being around too many people for too long. Extroverts get drained from not being around people. So I get all my extroversion needs met when I'm training people all day long. I'm around people all day long.
And I have to go home and pass out at 10 p.m. because I'm done.
The introvert, I'm the extrovert. So Todd is an introverted bear. He has to stay in hibernation all day to come out and say hello. And then he goes right back in hibernation. So there are extreme introverts. There's extreme extroverts. I'm not an extreme extrovert. extrovert. I have
No.
introversion too. So
We're
a lot
both
of
like
people-
60-40,
Yeah, we'll be in the middle.
but
or
on
whatever.
different sides.
Yeah. So you need to know that about yourself, about your spouse, about your client. So if you've got an introverted client, you keep throwing them into group settings, they're going to be like, fuck you. I don't want to train with you anymore. If you've got an extrovert, and not that you can't put an extrovert in a one-on-one, but I noticed, like Diane, for example, she's an extrovert like me. She likes one-on-ones with me, but boy, does she like when I put her in the groups too, just like I do. So I like groups and I like one-on-ones.
And Diane will also go and make friends with everybody. So when we had her the powerlifting meet, all of a sudden she's friending everybody on Facebook and Instagram. And she's like, I connected with so-and-so.
Yeah.
I emailed him. Hold on, let me text her. And I'm like, oh shit.
That's extrovert. So extrovert, it doesn't now again, it doesn't mean just outgoing. It just means gets a lot of energy from being around.
She was energized. I went home and slept for 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a way of this is an attitude. Okay, so that one's first one's attitude.
Hold
Now
on.
the
And
second
also,
letter.
when you know it about yourself, like I know in my day, I'm not going to be good for everybody on my schedule if I don't plan a little like intermission in my day.
Oh yeah.
So we're so busy right now. Like my day literally starts at a client's house, and now she's invited her neighbors over because she's an extrovert. So now we have a little club starting at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So guess who has to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to start drinking coffee to get awake enough to go put on this show and be the ringleader at 7:30 in the morning. And then I have a client. So if this is my day, I literally have about an hour window where I can eat lunch. And because I know this about myself, I'm not even going to eat lunch here tomorrow. So with the music playing and people talking, like that's too much. Like I'm going to go home because I live 5 minutes away. I'm going to go home and be in sensory deprivation and literally eat lunch in silence by myself.
Yeah.
And then I'll be refreshed.
Yeah.
And then I can come back out again. So it's like plugging in your phone. So if I don't have like an hour and a half during the day in the middle of this chaos to plug in my phone, plug in myself, which means unplug me from everybody else and don't look at my phone and don't text clients and don't answer anything. I have to unplug for about an hour so I can maintain this schedule that goes being extroverted until 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So when you are in this very extroverted, very helping situation, and especially if you're doing the spit coaching on top of whatever your other career is currently, you have to know these things about yourself to know how do you energize yourself? How do you fuel yourself up so you can be your best self for all these people that you're helping them improve?
Absolutely. And that's exactly how she said it. So those of you that are introverts, you have to say, all right, I don't go back to back to back. I have to have a little
I need a
breather, regenerate, all that. Okay, so that's number one. So is attitude. You're going to attract clients that either match you or a little bit opposite and be attracted to you because the opposite sometimes like the introvert likes the extrovert to pull them out of their little shell that they're in. That's kind of what we do. Anyway, the next one, number two, the preference. So this is the two functions of perception, sensing or intuition. So intuition doesn't mean some kind of a horoscope reader. Intuition is hypersensitivity. It's the sixth sense, and it just means we connect the dots really fast. So when I pick up intuitively, I'll pick up someone's emotions or pick up their attitude or pick up their feelings or pick up, like Todd does, pick up the energy off the person. I will pick up really bad energy, good energy, whatever it is. So intuitives perceive on a hypersensitive level. When someone is not an intuitive, they're more sensing, they have the potential to say, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? That's crazy. I don't feel that. I don't see that. Well, you don't because you're not hypersensitive. So an intuitive is a very hypersensitive person. So we connect dots. We like we don't like crossword puzzles. We like the connect the dot pictures because we see the picture faster than others.
And they also kind of see the writing on the wall of where something's going to go. They're like, oh, I do this and this and this, and then this is going to happen. Where the sensory person, like it literally has to happen. Like they'll be the one where they're like, oh my God, I did everything you said, and then I put my jeans on and they fell off.
I said was you want to be careful when it comes to sensing versus intuition. When you're talking to somebody that's an intuitive, they say the word see over and over. Oh, I see what you're talking about. I can see that. See. So they say see all the time. Intuitives see things before they happen. Intuitives see possibility. The sensing person does not have possibility thinking in their brain. And so they don't see possibility. So sometimes you'll say they're negative, or sometimes you'll say he's just a glass half full kind of guy. That's typically a non-intuitive. That's a sensing type. And so sensing means I don't believe it until I see it for real in the tangible realm.
These are also the people I've noticed of my girlfriends when they say, yeah, I saw the red flags, but I just didn't think anything of it. Or I thought it would get better. Or I didn't think he'd be that way after we got married. And then I was like, oh, you did not see that one coming for real.
Yeah. So that's a typical sensing personality type. This is how your brain is wired. There's no changing this. Both of these, all of us have all of them. It's just one is stronger than the other. And they said all problems that happen in all of our lives will be the weak side. So any problem I have that happens to me is when I don't introvert, when I don't take tangible evidence, when I don't feel enough, and when I don't perceive enough, all the letters that I'm not. Those are the things that fuck me over time and time again. So I have to work hard to make myself go to the other side of my brain that it typically doesn't go to on a normal basis. And then I start to pull my overall perception and thinking and proper judgments up. So sensing versus intuition, very, very critical to understand that. Intuitives really should not ever date or marry someone who's a non-intuitive. It's a match made in fucking hell. It's so horrible. You can't be an intuitive and talk about possibilities and visions and being a visionary to someone who has none of it. And that's not very good. It's just not good. I'm intuitive, but I know so much about this. I like to talk to sensing people because it helps bring that weakness up in me, but I could not date them. I could not marry them. There's no way. It just, we're way too far off on that. Same thing with the next one I'm about to talk about. So the next function is the preference of 1 to 2 functions of how you judge. You're either going to judge from your thinking process or your feeling. Predominantly, most of my clients are all thinkers. That's the most that I attract is a thinker versus feelers. I have a couple feelers. Feelers will judge based on how something makes them feel. That's how they come to their conclusion. Thinkers based on logic. When I say logic, a feeler is logical, but they're logical based on, is this going to make everybody feel happy? Is this going to make the situation, everybody in the situation happier, feel better, feel safer, blah, blah, blah. A thinker is like, is this the smartest thing to do? Is this the best use of my time? Is this the most functional thing to do? Is this the most efficient way to do it? We don't give a fuck about feelings. We're not even considering feelings. So sometimes, like I said, when things don't go right for me, sometimes as I didn't consider the feelings, I just went right with a little too much logic, and it was a little too cold. And so I really work hard to get over on that feeling side and say, all right, don't say it like that. I need to warm up how I answer this person or how I text this. So it doesn't come across, especially texting is so cold, so logical. Just got to kind of warm it up a little bit with feeling. With a teenager, with the ego of an athlete, the ego of a teen, you can't come with just straight logic. They're not going to listen to you. You got to have some of that feeling of that ego. So you got to be able to talk to that ego. So that's a really big thing. So understanding if this person, when I present to feelers, I won't present a cold, hard logic to a feeler. When I present to thinkers, let's say like Rhonda, she's a hardcore thinker. I won't give a bunch of feeling to Rhonda. I'll do more logic with her. So just kind of know that too. That's really important to understand thinking versus feeling. When it comes to males and females, a lot of guys will score higher on the thinking, low on feeling. Typical girls, which we're not very typical, but typical girls will be more feeling first on their decisions and then thinking second. But it's not one size fits all. It's how the brain is wired. Now we have the last one, and that's judging versus perceiving. I'm going to read this part above this. The 3 areas of preference are dichotomies, bipolar dimensions, where each pole represents a different preference. So Carl Jung, who is responsible, and then Myers and Briggs, both of those people, they all put this whole thing together, proposed that in a person, one of the 4 functions above is dominant, either a function of perception or a function of judging. Later research proposed to see judge and perceiving relationship as a 4th dichotomy, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, judging versus perceiving. So this is another really strong part to people's personalities. Again, Rhonda's very judgy. I'm a very, very judgy, and so is Brittany. Very, very judgy. So we come to judgments really quick, sometimes very bad.
And we sound like it, but we also change our minds very fast. So if you watch the 2 of us talk back and forth.
A judge a judge or changes their mind so quick, so fast.
No, I thought it through. This is what we do. Okay. So people will get scared.
Okay, I like that. Okay, do it. And a perceiver's like, oh my God, you guys are rushing to a judgment too quick. Stop judging so fast.
People that don't know us will get scared watching us argue. We're not actually arguing.
We're going through judgment so fast.
Right. And then it's always like, but the sanest answer prevails. So it'll be like, no, then whoever has the actual right answer, then it like everything just dies down and we're like 1,000% over it.
It's over. We've moved on.
And we're so over it.
Yeah. So here's some kind of fun things to know about judging versus perceiving. Again, this is kids in your classroom. This is clients, it's all the same. So a judger is very teacher-oriented, organized. Clearly, you're coming into a judging studio when you come here. I will label where to put the toilet paper in the bathroom.
I got labels
everywhere, everywhere. So labels, files, folders, file cabinets that are in alphabetical order, JJ. We are judging. Yeah. Schedules to the T, always, I'm going to be there, even if I'm a little late. I don't give a fuck if I'm a little late, but I'm going to be there. We're going to follow through. So a J is very predictable, but just always organized, always tons of to-do lists. So sometimes it's not good to be so J. It's better to have some perceiving because perceiving leaves things open-ended. Perceiving leaves things spontaneous. Perceiving makes things fun. And so, but on the other side, if you're too much in perceiving, it's hard to do your homework. Yeah. It's hard to get your work done.
So I would say perceiving allows life to come in and change your plans and you like go with the flow of the day.
Yeah.
So that's why, for example, I don't schedule things for a Sunday.
Yeah.
If I do, my entire like flow and balance is all fucked up because I need that day to literally just wake up and be like, no, what do I feel like doing? Like sometimes I go to the gym, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to go for a walk for an hour and listen to music. Sometimes I want to research and watch like podcasts on YouTube. So it just really, that's like my go with the flow day. And that's my perceiving day. And that's also the time when you can like really get quiet and like listen to your own inner thoughts and listen to the feedback that the world and life and the universe and whatever else you want to tap into is giving you. And so that's more of the perceiver side. And then 6 days out of the week on to-do list, cross this off, make sure so-and-so does this, schedule all the way through. And so just make sure that you have some counterbalance because again, it's not about right or wrong. It helps you be a better human, not even more well-rounded. I don't like the word balanced and I don't like the word well-rounded, but it just helps you be a better human.
And use your brain better. So yeah. I'm going to add to that judging and perceiving. Perceivers, on the strong side, if they're real strong perceivers, they won't commit. So I'll let you know if I'm going to come to the party. I'll let you know if I'm going to be there. They wait till the very last minute. They don't like committing to shit. They have piles of shit everywhere. They're the ones that make their treadmill, their clothing rack. They don't put shit away. I always say you've made multiple things. Why take the shirt off and throw it on the chair? That's an extra step that was not needed. Hang it right back up.
Exactly.
Perceivers don't think that way. Pile, make a fucking disaster out of their room, stress out over the disaster, think that they need all of Sunday to fix it. Stress out all day Saturday, thinking about cleaning up on Sunday. All that stress was not needed, but that's the typical.
I'm like, where's the one place it goes? Because I'm not putting this away twice.
Right, exactly. That's a very J thing. But like what Brittany said, if you don't balance that strict J, you're going to get a lot of anxiety. Why? You got your brain twisted so tight into so much to-do list that there's no room for spontaneity. There's no room for relaxation. There's no room to just think and take a bath. There's no room to turn your fucking mind off
or
calm down and rest.
Because
just
when you have
rest.
To-do lists and rules and where things go,
there's too many rules.
You get so busy going, this is the way it is just because. And then you get stuck in that just because, and then you can't evolve.
Yeah.
So when you bring that perceiving into a J, that's what allows the evolution for things to get even more efficient. So as a J, if you tell me you need to go with the flow day to make things even more efficient and grow, I'll go along with you on that. I understand that.
Yeah. So to talk to a J and say, you shouldn't judge that hard or you shouldn't think so rigid, that's stupid. their brain is wired for rigidity, which is a good thing, but we have to open up their mind, let in some perceiving, let in another perception, let in a new way of doing
And then
things.
it allows your judgments to be even better.
Yes. And so I do that with Rhonda. She's real judgy, so am I. And I go, okay, let's open this up. Maybe we'll try another pair of shoes. And she flows great that way. So, because like Brittany said, Rhonda's flowing. I want to make this better. I want to make this more of a win. I want to make this more efficient. But I take Rhonda down the perceiving track that way, through that angle. So this is why it's so important to understand personality.
And also when you're talking to people, like, again, like I was saying last week in the workout, you're there to create a certain sense of security that you're taking them on a journey and you are the tour guide and you're not getting fucking lost in the Amazon. Like, you know your shit, you know where you're going. So what I always say with people is we're going to do this, we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, and then we're going to figure it out as we go. We need to figure it out for your body.
Yeah.
So I have a client that just started last week, and you never want to ask people to do too many changes at once in anything because they can't.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I said to her is, let's replace these meals, two shakes a day, 2 to 3 little mini meals a day. Let's start with that. Your body's going to have to get acclimated to the first 2 weeks of the shock of working out. And then we'll figure it out from there. So let's just make these first changes. We'll figure it out as we go. So that's one of the phrases that I say to myself to calm myself down and coach myself through life. And I say that to people all the time also, like 1, 2, 3, and then we'll figure it out as we go. So that's another way to think of it, because you do have to be flexible. You do have to be in perceiving mode and be adaptable and make changes based on the feedback and the environment and what's happening in real time. So there is a strict rigidity that comes with the J. There's a certain discipline that's so valuable, but you also have to be agile and just figure it out as you go.
Like a perceiver. And they are highly creative people.
But don't figure it all out as you go. I need a fucking plan to start with.
Yeah, exactly. Perceivers, they have a lot of great things. Todd is a big perceiver. They are highly creative. They're big visionaries. They see shit before anybody else can see it.
We also have to lie to them about what time the plane leaves so we get to the airport on time.
We will never get on time anywhere. So that's another thing. I have perceiver clients. Don't lie and make judgy judgments. They should just be on time and respect my time. Get the fuck out of here. A perceiver is not ever going to be on time. They're not going to die on time. They're not going to get to the airport on time. They're not going to get to your fucking session on time. I never put my perceivers on the schedule where they will fuck the rest of the day up. I promise you, perceivers will be first or they will be last, but they are not getting in the middle of anything. Or I lie, and I always lie. I tell the perceivers a lie about their time. It's so good. It feels so good to lie. First of all, it's so good. It's so healthy. And secondly, it feels so good to lie to a perceiver. Then they end up showing up on time.
You can also, another tactic, I will put them in a group. And so that if they show up and the group's half over, I put them in a group and then their one-on-one sessions right after. So then they can get there. They have an hour window to show up.
How you doing? See,
and then they're on time for their one-on-one session.
There you go. That's how you stay peaceful. That's how you stay peaceful. You cannot be in peace if you try to control over everybody. You can't. All these brains are wired totally different. You can't fucking get in there and control that. So you got to control egos. You got to control different personality types. But when it comes to certain things like being on time and stuff like that, Chris is such a J. She's early. I'm not the early type. I do 500 things before I go any place that I go to. So I lie to myself, all my appointments, every single person that does all my spa work, don't give me the real time, give me the lie time. I put the lie time on my phone and I end up being on time. I figured out how to fuck with me. So I forget about the lies and then I end up showing up on time. Eventually I get there on time. So just know that it really does work and it keeps you calm and you're controlling the situation. You got to stay in control of the whole chessboard. Personality types. First criteria, I've already went over it. I gave you tons of info. You can read the rest of that shit on your own. I gave you all that. And the holistic approach to health. Idea of holistic health is one that's got a lot of attention. Our culture focuses on doing the minimum self-care required to jump back into our 24/7 lives. But what happens when the system breaks down? We wind up sicker and more miserable than ever. I was one of these people. I worked corporate jobs, worked real estate, worked in spas. I've done so many different things before I actually got into the holistic field of personal training and coaching. Anyway, you drive yourself into a place of so much unhealth and you don't have a fucking clue how to get control of your body. So we approach it holistically. And you have to take control of not just your body, Your body is like the best way to look at your body. You know those, what are those pieces of paper called where you put the carbon? Yeah. It's got that piece of carbon behind it. You write on it. And then the other piece of paper gets
a carbon copy.
Carbon copy. So your body is like the carbon that the imprint goes on that your emotions cause. So your emotions get stuck. Emotion means energy in motion. And when an emotion gets stuck in you, it draws a heart attack on your body and your heart blows up. It draws colitis on there. It's the emotion that's stuck that needs to be freed up and it needs to move the fuck on. It can't be stuck in the body. So whenever your body is having any kind of dis-ease, it's a communication tool. Your body's saying, bitch, I am hurting. This hurts. A hiccup is pain. Gas is pain. Allergies pain. Intolerance is pain. Those are all painful expressions that your body's saying, would you please stop eating this? You're fucking killing me. Would you please look at your nails? Look at everything going on. If I see a ridge in a nail, if I see a breakout, if I see anything going on, if I feel pain, if I feel swelling, my body is talking back to me. Hey, I don't like that. Hey, this is hurting me. Well, we don't get trained and taught that way because there's so much fucking money in big pharma. And you're not going to be taught
to medicate
watch yourself.
Take some aspirin, take some
chop it off.
Take some ibuprofen.
Chop it out, chop it off.
Take another medicine that causes other side effects of other things, and then take another medicine for that to cover up the pain of it. Or pain is your body communicating something.
Yep.
So anything that's happening, it's not just like put some cream on that or take a pill for it. It's what is your body communicating to you, either on an emotional level, emotional, spiritual level, or a, hey, you're fucking allergic to that level. So it took me a long time to figure out that I was allergic to dairy, probably about 2 years of being sick. And it was so bad at that point that it was down to looking at the ingredients of bread versus bagels. So even the tiny amount of dairy product that was in bread, I couldn't handle it. And it was keeping me sick. And it was causing so much inflammation. And I was so bloated. And I literally had diarrhea for like a year straight. And some days I couldn't eat anything. And then my clients were like, oh my God, you're losing weight. You look so great. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like I couldn't even tell them what was going on because I didn't know myself. So all of that, it's down to, and that's what people are shocked by. You mean the tiny amount of dairy in bread was setting it off? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
I could eat bagels. I could not eat bread. And it's very specific to each person. So she is extremely allergic to lectins. I tried the lectin-free diet. It was not life-changing for me. There was really nothing that I felt was different at all about me. But there's certain things that I've noticed with my body that if I eat, like I can't really eat hummus. It literally gives me gas and bloating immediately. And then it makes me constipated. I don't know why. Fucking garbanzo beans. I have to stay away from them. That's how my body works. But your body's going to tell you that feedback and you have to listen.
And
not just
people
cover
like
up.
get feedback.
And then people are like, can't you just take lactate or Beano? Why would I take lactate or Beano? My body's trying to tell me, don't eat that.
Eat it.
And you're fucking with somebody that goes back, something that goes back to the ancestry of, my people were sheep herders or whatever. And like they drank sheep's milk. Like who knows where this came from? Everybody's such a melting pot of so many different ethnicities at this point that you just have to listen to what your body's saying and go with it.
Right. Absolutely. And so emotions, a lot of times your clients will come to you. So again, this is where you don't want to be too judgy. Going back to that judgy personality, you have to stay a little bit more open. Sometimes the clients come to you, they're very out of touch. They're unconscious. They have low awareness. You've got more awareness. You have more intelligence. We've taken you through all of this. And sometimes you have to be patient on someone's awareness level. It's just lower and it's going to take a little bit longer. And they may not get results right away. Just them coming to you, just them having an hour with you, just them training with you, just them hearing you validate you did a great job. Never in their life, possibly never in their life, they've never heard you've done a great job. Very critical parents, horrible spouse, whatever it may be. They're hearing for the first time, they're starting to grow like a plant. You're making me feel so good. I want to take better care of myself. I want to stop drinking soda. I want to stop drinking wine 7 days a week. I want to start eating good. I want to start walking. So many wonderful things will start to happen to them with you just listening and being open with them and taking them through the session and not being so judgy, like, you got to lose weight. You got to get results. You should lose weight every single week. No, they shouldn't. What they need to do is just show the fuck up to the session and do one little thing at a time, what they can handle. And it's not your job to put your judginess on them. It's not your job to judge them about how much money they can spend or not spend. Some people spend $7,000 a month with us. Just them and their spouse. $7,000 a month, just one client in Atlanta. They have money to spend and they're going to spend it. And it's not my job to judge how much money they want to spend. So yours neither. So you have to understand your personality. Be careful if you sense that you're doing that. Be careful if you're just pushing that kind of stuff on other people. Be careful doing it to yourself too much, because you will create too much anxiety in yourself doing those harsh things to yourself. Watch what your emotions are doing. If they're too dramatic, if they're too emotional, if you feel too powerless, it's way deeper than just some of the shit that's coming out of your mouth. It's much deeper, and you need to be in touch with that.
Also, don't be too judgmental on yourself and on your clients. If somebody's not getting the results that you think they should be getting, because again, that's your judgment, what they should be getting from their interaction with you and what they are paying for, what you would be paying for.
There you go.
And also, don't be too judgmental on what they're taking from that relationship with you, because you don't know every single part of their life. You know a lot about their life, but it could be that you are more of a confidant for them. It could be that they are older and it's one of the few actual human friendship interactions that they have. And because you're younger than them, presumably, you're making them feel younger and more alive. So never judge that because somebody maybe gained 10 pounds that you're not still inspiring. And also don't judge that they're not losing weight, therefore they're going to fire me as a trainer or fit coach. So I know in the very beginning, that was one of my insecurities. I thought, oh my God, I'm a personal trainer. People are paying me to lose weight. If I don't get the weight off of them, then I'm going to be a failure and they're going to fire me. And that's not the truth at all. So again, this is about you maintaining the authority position and that you know your shit. And when they're ready to lose weight, you totally know how to do that for them. You can totally take them down that path and figure it out as you go with them, but never judge what somebody's getting on a more spiritual, emotional, holistic level from their video. So this, because I've been in this business and doing this for almost 20 years now, exactly. I've literally started out as a client literally exactly 20 years ago. It's funny now because seeds that I planted literally when I started out as a client working out with people that became my clients, now their kids are also becoming my clients. So never underestimate the seeds that you plant and the impact you can have on somebody's life. And you're not going to know it necessarily in the moment. So it might take 10, 20 years. You might never know it, but they might talk about you as a positive force in their life when you're not around, and you might never know. So you never fully know the impact you have on someone. Your job is just to be there and be this thing, be this positive energy, be this helper. And then again, if they're paying for you, that's currency. They're getting something, they're getting energy, they're giving you money in exchange. So don't judge what they're getting from it. And definitely don't get into an insecure place where you think that you're going to be a failure if you don't get them certain results.
Right. And everyone gets the results that they want. So that's a big thing. Everybody gets the results they want. And if it's not the results you want them to have, it's the results they want.
If they quit and they say, well, I didn't get the results, don't take that personal. That's not on you. So that I've heard that. I've heard that plenty of times. We heard that so many times over the years. And when you look at what you gave versus did they follow any of it? It's never your fault. And also, don't argue with that person about, well, I gave you this. Well, I told you this. Well, you didn't do it. It doesn't matter at that point. It does not matter. They were not ready.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were not ready. And that'll come to when we start to teach you who's the best person to attract as a client.
Yep.
All right, let's see what we have. Next one. I think that's it. I think that was the final page.
Yeah, because then the show.
No.
You're going the wrong way.
I have to go this way.
You're not going that way. You're just clicking and it's all going to the end.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, we're going forward.
I need to find my pages.
Oh, we're on page 13 already.
Hold on. There. I was only going to page 8. Yeah. Okay. I didn't get these pages in.
Where did those go?
Personality types, holistic, history. Yeah, I didn't do the polarity. I have to go to polarity. Okay, so I did that one. I did that one. I is the holistic. There it is. All right. So I need 6, 7, and 8, the next 3 pages. Okay. Last 3 pages here that we're going over. Connection. Makes sense when you think about it. We understand we work too much to suffer mental, emotional strain, body suffers. Okay, so mental and emotional strain. So stress is nothing but mental or emotional strain. Mental or emotional strain. Then it impacts the body. Mindful eating is about caring for both the body and the spirit. Yoga, the same way. Exercise helps both the body and the mind. Competitive sports helps the mind, helps the self-esteem. Meditation, time spent with friends are a good time for the mind and for the spirit. And so a lot of times some people are just like, I'm more thirsty and starving for a good connection or time just for myself because my kids are just draining everything out of me. Everything goes to everybody else, nothing for me. And so sometimes just the time with you, to talk to you, to spend time with you, to get validated from you, that's it. That's beyond worth the money that they're paying you. And so again, just understand it's way bigger. It's a way bigger picture. You need to see the big picture about what we're teaching the actual coach actually is. On top of just the actual support, they just want to feel supported to go do something that they can find no support anywhere else. No family, no spouse, no friends, nobody at work. No one can support them because the majority of people aren't doing jack shit to even talk about anyway. So they come to you. It's the first time they've got someone that can actually support them in something big they want to do. All right, this is the last. How did I get to the last screen?
What are you doing?
I'm trying. Oh, there's the arrows. Good God. Make sure I got everything. Okay. There's that holistic approach. Then healing traces its roots back to ancient practices, India and China 5,000 years ago. The part can never be well unless the whole is well. So this is what holistic means. So 1926, this person's name introduced the term holism, referred to the idea of living things as entities greater than and different from the sum of their parts. Holistic health fell by the wayside with the rise of modern medicine. There's way more money in modern medicine. People started to live unhealthy lifestyles with the idea that they could take a pill to treat their body and ignore the rest of their health. So this is what got marketed, that you can do whatever the fuck you feel like doing, drink whatever, eat whatever, take shitty care of yourself, and all you need is a pill. It never works that way.
I have a client, her father-in-law literally takes extra, is it insulin, diabetes medicine? Take insulin, then you eat your pie. Anyway, he takes extra, presumably insulin. No, they produce too much insulin. Anyway, he takes extra diabetes medicine, and then he eats his pie on Thanksgiving, where he should not be eating it at all. Yeah, that was my point.
And my father's like a good example, using my father as an example. He had high cholesterol, which just means high triglycerides. So because he was a big sweet eater, which makes a lot of body fat. And he wouldn't stop eating all of the sweets that he was eating. His weight, because he ate 3 square meals a day, didn't really fluctuate. He was always about 210 pounds the whole time growing up, but he would not stop eating sweet. Pretty endomorph too. Anyway, so he gets this really high cholesterol. Doctor puts him on the cholesterol medication. He gets on the cholesterol medication. At first, it looks like it's reducing his cholesterol. No, it's just fucking his liver up. So after quite a number of years of being on the cholesterol medication, which is supposed to be lowering his cholesterol was 1,500. So it's supposed to be under 200. His cholesterol went up to 1,500. Scared the doctor to death. Doctor rips him off of all the cholesterol meds, then puts him on niacin, which is a natural vitamin, and he puts him on like ungodly amounts of niacin. This man was red face, red elbow, red knees, and red chest,
burning up.
Like his flesh was burning off. For 30 days, he put him on. And in 30 days with niacin, his cholesterol went back down to 2 something. So with the drug, it went to 1,500. When he got off the drug and he went on niacin, it went back down to 200. Then if you do research on cholesterol, they make the numbers. Blood pressure at 140 over 90 is high. Now you need a drug. Cholesterol over 200 is high. Now you need a drug. They're just making these fucking numbers up. And so if you're healthy, there's certain genetics that the numbers are a little bit higher one way or the other. That's why we want to break all your numbers down. Same thing with your clients. Well, if you're going to get all your panels, let's break all the numbers down and take a look at them. So that's a big thing to understand about holism. So when you treat the whole body, the emotions, the mind, and the physical self, now the person is feeling better than they've ever felt. Their mind is working on their side instead of against them. Their body's on their side instead of against them. That's what being a coach is all about. So that's what we're training you to do. You first have to do it for yourself so you can actually teach someone how to do it for themselves as well. Okay, now I found the damn number arrows. All right, I went over that. Now this is the last part. So this is the final part. This is a really deep lesson right here that needs to be understood. It's called Polarity Triangle. Stay off the ends and the middle. So where do you go? So a lot of times people will talk about one side or the other, black and white thinking. They just try to get in the middle and not be so extreme, that kind of stuff. This is a psychological term. So those of you that are good in psychology, you're going to love this. Those of you who can't see psychology, you're going to say this is stupid, but you're probably in the middle of one of these happening to you. And so you need to get an understanding of it. When it comes to this pyramid, so up here at the top, let's get the example here of this one at the top. So there is sympathy, which is not very good to do. That means you think you're greater than this person. That's why sympathy is not good. Antipathy is the other end. That's also not good. Indifference is really shitty, to be indifferent, which most people think that's the middle ground of sympathy versus antipathy. But it's actually better to be at the top of the pyramid, which is benevolent understanding. So getting an understanding between this is really important because especially being very judgy, and I grew up in a very unsafe household, very unsafe parents. It felt like I was a captor, not a child, the whole childhood. I threw the baby out with the bathwater with one too many things. And so I went from one extreme over to the other, swinging on this pendulum. And then that got my body sick, got my emotions stuck. And so this is why I'm really big in teaching this. It's better to go to the top of the pyramid than get in between these two situations. So the next one might be an easier understanding for you. Being fearful or pessimistic. So you know people that are pessimistic. Then you know people that are optimistic. Okay. And that's blind optimism, one side. Fearful pessimism is the other side. Then you know the people that say, I'm just realistic. Everyone always loves to try to get the card of I'm just practical. I'm just realistic. Most of the time people are full of shit. That's the only zone.
Or they'll say to you, okay, but you need to be more realistic about that.
And they're not realistic. Okay. They're just stuck in their concrete realm of what they call realism. So a clear vision of reality is different than saying I'm practical. I'm just being realistic. So fearful pessimism is one side of the triangle. Blind optimism is a little too far over. Saying that you're practical and realistic is in the middle of those two, which you're still not going to win there. A clear vision of reality is where the winning happens. And so you have to work hard to get a clear vision of reality. You don't get to just have that. And so this is something that most humans get pissed off about. They think I'm the glass half full or he's the glass half empty. It's too extreme. It takes a lot of work to get a clear vision of reality. And so when we're looking and when we're working with clients, I'm trying to gather a lot of info because I'm not going to go to the other side and be totally optimistic when this person's a pessimist. That's stupid. They're not going to like me. I'm not going to like them. I'm not going to act like I'm in realism and they're a pessimist or they're too optimistic. I need to keep driving to get to a clear vision of reality for myself and to help them with it. So you really need to think about that a lot. So be careful of extreme pessimism, extreme optimism. This person is always controlled by fear on the end, and to drive up to the top where clear vision of reality is located is critical. If you're going to coach a football team, if you're going to coach kids, if you're going to coach adults, if you're going to coach big egos in pro sports, you have to always drive to a clear vision of reality. And that takes work. You don't get to just snap and get right into that. A lot of research, a lot of digging information out of them so you can start to form a reality that you see and then help them to actually see more of a clear vision of reality about themselves.
This is also really important as a fit coach and as a trainer, because a lot of times, especially if you're an intuitive, you can see the possibilities for a certain human and you cannot project your possibility thinking on them because you're not them. Yep. You don't know their whole picture. Yep. So I did this with the first girl that I trained for a powerlifting show. I put way too many of my possibilities on her, and I ended up stressing her out too much and putting too much pressure on her to win and go to nationals and be this big winner. And I did not understand the amount of fears that she was coming from. And I did not have enough empathy for that. So if I just would have looked at her from a more mature state and said, listen, she has a very fearful background.
Yep.
That's what we're working with. That's okay. Now, how can we max out with this? Not max out for me, max out for her. So what is the best experience that we both can have of taking her to a powerlifting show? I would have pulled back so many of those pressures that I was putting on her, because I was looking at her like, I want to reach my max potential. I want somebody to push me. Well, I think you should reach your max potential too. I think somebody should push you. I'm going to push you. You should go to nationals. You can go to nationals. You're strong enough. You can totally do it. And I wasn't looking at everything else that was in that picture. And so there were way too many fearful tears shed by her in practice. There were way too many tears shed even after the meet of her being scared to go to the national show and not wanting to let me down and not wanting to feel embarrassed showing up at this national show against higher competition. And it wasn't a good relationship for both of us. So when you're judging somebody else's potential, make sure you're in that place of reality where you're looking at the whole vision. And at the end of the day, don't project. This is their reality. Just look at the pieces of the puzzle that you're given to work with and say, this is what we can do with this. And let's make this a really accepting, good experience for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's so true. What she was saying about projecting possibilities onto others. A lot of people will do that with relationships. They'll project, oh, it could work out. Oh, this could be so great. And they'll see all these great things in him, or he'll see so many great things in a girl. And it's like, oh, you're swinging too far over on this. You're going too far into optimism. Or you're saying that you're being realistic. Anytime I hear people say these words, I know they're at the bottom of the pyramid. So if I hear them say pessimist, or I'm more of a pessimist or an optimist, it's all fear. Those are all fearful words. Even the word practical and realism, that's all fear-based. What is the clear vision of reality? It doesn't have any of those emotions in it.
Another aspect of that clear vision of reality. So in your clear vision of reality, you have to look at whoever this other person is in this relationship, whether it's a personal relationship or a work relationship or with a child or with a client that you're training and coaching. You have to take into your vision of reality their autonomy and their free will. So a lot of times, especially with women, they will think they can change a guy. They'll think they can control or change his behavior. And they're not looking at, okay, we've been together for 10 years or whatever. Who is this person now? What have his decisions been for 10 years? What do I think they're going to be? And also, is he a new person? Has he changed and grown into a whole new person? Because people are allowed to do that. This is his life. He was a person before he met you. He met you. You were together for whatever years. Now he's a certain person. And so you can't control another human. And that's kind of a trap that people get into that takes them down to that bottom of the pyramid. And then they'll be like, oh my God, he's going to change. Oh my God, he's not. Oh my God, fuck all men, fuck all relationships. I'm over all of it. Instead of just saying, okay, this is who I am in the equation, which is reality. This is who he is in the equation. This is who this client is in the equation. And there's free will. So what are they going to do next? What are they going to choose? And at the end of the day, I have very little control, no control, and very little impact over that because they're an independent human over here.
And you have to control your own vision of reality. So, okay, so let's go down to the third one. This is a very common one. You're going to deal with this one a lot when it comes to weight loss and athletics and coaching people out of certain mental states. So depression on one side, everybody's just so afraid of depression. It's so retarded. Depression is just an actual emotion. So depression on one side, excitement on the other. Why people have no negative thought about excitement, it's because they don't understand it. Everybody's got a negative, scared thought about depression, but they don't have a negative, scared thought about excitement. Excitement is actually fear as well. Excitement occurs when something good happens, but you have no control over it. That's fear-based. Depression, something bad happens and you have no control of that. So something bad happens, you have no control. That's going to be called depression. Something good happens, you have no control. How did this happen good? And you get excited. Both of them are fear. So both of them are retarded. So that's the bottom line about them. The middle one is even worse. Apathetic calm. I grew up with a very apathetic father. It's a horrible thing to be around. Apathy is terrible. Apathy causes neglect. And it's a horrible feeling to feel when someone's apathetic. You say, I just did this. I just won this. I just did this. I'm so excited about this new school. Oh, that's fine, dear. Well, I hope you're having a good time. They don't give a fuck. And so apathy is in the middle of depression. Something bad happened. Don't know why. No control. Excitement. Something good happened. Don't know why. No control. Serenity is when you get to a place where you're like, I know how I did that. Feels really good to know how I did that. I know how Rhonda won the nationals. I know the math I used to get Jerry to go from 95 to 245 on the deadlift. I know the math equation I used to get so-and-so to drop 16% body fat. So that's serenity. That's calm. That's what you're aiming for, where you feel this with yourself. Not depressed because you ate cookies. Who gives a fuck that you ate some cookies? That's a lack of control. Not apathy about it, and definitely not being overly excited about something that you feel no control over. So a lot of times I had to work through with a lot of the powerlifters, I had to calm their excitement down. So they were excited that they did a good weight, but they didn't know the math I was using to make that possible. So I say it out loud. We're going to do this, this, and this. This is what's going to make your lift get this high by the end of the month. So I'm driving them up the pyramid up to serenity. So calm the excitement down. That is something good is happening, but I don't feel a sense of control. Calm the depression down. Something bad is happening. I still don't feel control. Out of that zone. Stay out of that zone. Also a trainer, which we train with every trainer in the city. We do it on purpose, just like you've heard her say that we join all these different curves and all this. We always need to see what the competition's doing. And we never have any competition anyway, but we choose to go and look around and see what the competition's doing. We train with all the best trainers. We train with Mike Francois, the top people like Gold's Gym, World's Gym, at the Arnold Classic. We train with everybody. And we will see a lot of times a trainer will be too apathetic. You know, the client will tell them something. The trainer's like, okay, we'll do nothing about it. And then sure enough, that client will end up being our client because I'm not going to stand apathy when someone's doing some bullshit. So I got to drive them and me to a good place of serenity. So we're all calm. We're getting our goals. We're feeling positive and feeling like we have a sense of clear vision of reality. We feel calm. We come in. We got our bags packed. We're eating healthy. We're performing great. We're right on target. We're hitting all our goals. That feels so goddamn good that now this will spill over. Now they're going to pick a good mate. Now they're going to treat their kids better or raise their kids a little bit smarter. Now they're going to quit their stupid job, start a business, go get a better job. Now they're going to tell their boss who's a prick off, whatever. They're going to start to do things better because they're going to see the world differently. So please understand this triangle thing. It's really important. So depression, excitement, serenity is going to be the 99% of the time you're going to be working in that triangle with everybody you meet. And then the fourth triangle, we've got submission, rebellion, and then we've got spiritual acceptance and elimination of the cause of the painful situation. This is really big. And then in the middle down there, that's still negative, down the bottom of the pyramid, compromise. Compromise is not good. I'm not a fan of compromise whatsoever. We don't ever compromise. None of us do.
I don't like that word.
I hate the word. I don't believe in it. I think it's a crock of shit.
It means nobody gets
what use mad.
No,
want to use mad.
It literally means nobody's happy and nobody gets what they want.
So like I said to her, I want to go see House of Gucci, the movie, and I want to see it with her first. I know I'm going to see it multiple times. And then she's like, well, when do you want to go? I said, well, you're the one that goes to sleep like a 103-year-old. We got to go on your schedule. So I'm not compromising. I'm like, you pick the time. I want to go. And she said, yes, I want to go too. So I get my way because I want to go to the movie and I want to go first with her. That's my way. And then I said, you pick the time. I'm not going to pick the time, then you're going to be mad. So then she picked the time. I said, I'll go at any time. I don't give a fuck. And so she picked the time. Now we're going. So think of it like that. So it's just like, you still get your way. You want to do something, but then you have to look at this person, accept them. I'm accepting. There's certain things. She's an introvert. I'm not. Her energy is going to be down if she's working all day. So, and she's going to need more sleep time. I'm not going to need a sleep time like her. So I have to accept that about her. So it was so easy to say, you pick the time. And then I'm still going to tease her about it. And I'm like, you pick the time. You're going to sleep like a 103-year-old. But I accept it.
I'm going to sleep.
She has to go vegetate again. I don't have to do that. So that's what it means by acceptance. You still get to get your way. So compromise is not the truth. So when people say, you got to compromise a relationship. No, you don't. You have, and I'm not going to submit. I'm not going to rebel either. So rebellion is one side, and I did it all the time growing up. I was forced into submission. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do everything you don't want me to do. And it hurt me. I kept hurting myself so much. Oh, yes. I didn't know how to get out of that swinging. So like that.
On the other side, submission, people don't, especially women, they think that they're nice when they're like, well, she said that and I let it go. I let it go. There's no such thing as letting it go. Humans don't let things go.
Nobody does.
It's actually happening that people don't understand. And this was, there was some psychological experiment and whatever. They studied relationships. And the number one predictor of a relationship, a divorce happening in a relationship, was if there was contempt. And they said before there's contempt, there's resentment.
Ooh.
And resentment comes from letting things go.
That's submission.
And one person submitting. So when somebody's like, well, I'm just going to be nice. I'm not going to cause a fight. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go. Then one day they get drunk and they don't let it go. And I just watched it happen with a client and another one of her friends. And I was like, okay, all of that suppression, all of that letting it go, it's going to explode out. So you can't let things go. Your brain's cataloging, your emotions are cataloging. There's no such thing as letting it go.
No.
And so again, if you watch Melinda and I, because we're very extroverted about it, if you watch us, she does something I don't like, I'm like, put that fucking back. And then we're over it. Or I do something and then she yells and then we're over it. Like whatever it is, it's in the moment, it's out. There's no suppression of anything. No. Everybody in the whole studio is clear where we stand with each other. Nobody's uncertain, certainly not the two of us.
Wow.
But that's actually the most healthy place. And for me, I come from a family of total submission, total passivity. And so I had to learn that healthy way to argue. And for me, as a female, I had to get over the fear of, oh my God, this person's going to be mad at me. They're going to leave me if I put my foot down. They're going to kick me out. They're going to fire me. They're going to hate me. They're going to get rid of me if I put my foot down and say who I am and say what my demands are and what my boundaries are and what I want out of this. So I hate the word compromise, but the more proper way to say compromise, it's more negotiation.
Yeah.
And it's more
acceptance and elimination of the cause.
So it's more saying, no, I want this in this situation. I want this. How can we negotiate so we both get what we want out of it? Okay, well, I'll give you this and you give me that.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Then we can do this together.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, any negotiation, if people don't want to do it together and they don't want to come to an agreement, then you're not negotiating anymore. You're fighting, you're arguing. It's a divorce settlement. That's not an actual negotiation. And so there's a certain comfort and security in knowing like, we're going to go to the movie together. So then the negotiation becomes, well, we know we're going to go to this movie together. So now, okay, I'll do it at this time. I'll stay up a little later. She'll move this person. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So just know that if you're ever in a situation where you feel like somebody doesn't want to work something out with you, that's not a negotiation. That's not a proper relationship. They're now an enemy in this argument. And that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. And they're going to they're going to try to
submit you.
Yeah. They're going to try to take their thumb on your neck and cause submission.
Submit you.
Or compromise in behavior is still submission. You're still going to be mad at yourself.
They'll say the word compromise to you to try to get you to submit.
And they'll guilt you and shame you about compromise. And do understand when we say this, I would say 99% of all weight gain is from this bottom triangle. People getting so mad at being forced into submission and forced to compromise, and it's never healthy. Spiritual acceptance and elimination of the cause of the painful situation. So you have to accept how to get this painful situation to go away, to not happen, to not tolerate it, and just put the work in. Don't rebel, don't submit, and don't compromise. How can I get my way? How can you get your way? It really is possible. And like Brittany said, if the situation feels like it's not, you're with someone who's not looking for the situation to be that way. They're looking to submit you. You ain't doing that. I'm not going to be submitted. Like Leonidas, I'm not taking a knee, motherfucker. So I'm not. So that's the bottom line. So that's what we want you to think through. When you study this PDF, I'm only going to page 8 right here. We'll use the next lesson in the next meeting, but just kind of only go to here because this was really deep and it does need your attention. If you were to get a tattoo, this would be a beautiful tattoo to have, by the way, opposite, and balance. I've got some Libras on the call, so I know your Libras are going to be very appreciative of the real definition of balance here, which is the very top of the pyramid. It's not the middle of two shitty situations. It's the actual top. Rise above it and actually get to a place where you're like feeling really good. You've got good understanding, power. You got a clear vision of reality, power. Yeah. You're in a serene place, power, and you've got an acceptance and you know how to eliminate a painful situation. That's power. And you will be paid for your power. That's what's going to get you paid. All right, we are done. Any questions, please put them in the comments. I'm going to give you a couple minutes if you guys have any questions, or you can ask them out loud. It's up to you. I'm going to stop the screen share here. All right, get this over here. How do I move this bitch? All right, there we go. All right, everybody's going to be quiet now, huh? I got everybody floored. Is that what happened? Everybody's speechless now? All right, that's pretty good, I guess. Everybody's speechless. All right.
Well, I just talked for 2.5 hours straight, so Melinda's going to make fun of me.
All right. Okay.
Introvert.
The Libra. I'll typically get mind blown emojis. All right, good. Glad you liked it. Like the thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Because last time we gave 3 times this amount of information.
No more. Yeah, we got taught that. Cindy straightened our asses right up. Women, you're blowing our minds. Too much info. Yeah, exactly. So now we went down to one nice, simple lesson, and this shit's deep anyway. So,
and it really deserved that much time.
Thank you guys for feedback. We appreciate it. Definitely like it. If you got any more feedback, leave it in the message. So we'll make sure the recording gets loaded to the page. Also, you all, we did put it in the password and the page link to go over to the. You guys are part of season 3. You are the class of 2022, and all the videos and the PDFs will be over there as well. So anytime you need to go to the archive, go over to that page. And I also put you all in the group chat that's over on the AMP Up app. Okay. So you got between the AMP Up app and the Fit Coach page that's located over on the AMP Up site. Those are the 2 places we have everything. Also, one more thing, the diet plan. I'm going to be assigning the diet plan to all of you, with the exception of Kelly, because you are on a special diet. But diet plans 1 and 2, I'll be assigning that to you. We want you to do it for a few days just to test it out, because you need to know what your client's going to test. Some of you have already been through it, but just do it a few days, get the feeling for it. No, I like it. I don't like it. Work great. Pull a little bit of bloat off meat, whatever. Every single meeting that we have, I'm going to give you 2 diet plans. So I'll be attaching diet 1 and 2 into the group chat, and then print them out. Go over them, get an understanding, try them for a couple days at a time, or 1 week and then another week. And then in 2 weeks, I'll go to the next 2 diets. So you all have to experience these diets as we go along. All right, let me see if this chat said if there's any more feedback here. All right, see you tomorrow. Sounds good. All right, guys. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.